Okay, confession time. When they introduced the student council, I was like, man, what is this generic slice of life stuff? Nowadays, every time I see the council, I'm like, oh, yay, student council stuff. Funny how things turn. But with that said, everybody, hello. Welcome back to our weekly Fruits Basket Season 2 discussion video. Today we're here to talk all about episode 20. Are you okay? Bust a wolf! Sorry about that. Had to be done. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, sorry for the confusion, but without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the video, shall we? Well, that definitely lost some people who aren't fighting game fans. Anyway, hello, everybody. Welcome back. So, honestly, there's mainly two specific things that we really gotta hit on today. We gotta talk about the class play, which I actually, well, we'll get into it. I had to do some research, which makes me feel kind of stupid. But we have to talk about the class play. And we gotta talk about student council, which, like I said, like way back when they were first introduced, I'm like, a student council? I don't know if I really want to see that. Like, we already have a lot of characters as it is. Student councils are always done in these slice of life shows. I don't know if I really want to see it nowadays. But after what, episode 2 of having them, like the second episode of having the council, I'm like, oh my god, they're great. Like, especially Kakaru, especially our boy Thief and Machi Mouse, which now I'm seeing it, right? Because when I was like, Machi Mouse, like, she's scurrying around in the dark, she's like messing stuff up, she's quiet and timid like a mouse. I thought that and it was alliteration, right? Machi Mouse, MM. So I was like, oh, it's cute. I think it works as a good nickname. And everyone's like, you have no idea how good that nickname will be. And at first I'm like, what? Why? And now I'm like, oh, now I see. But yeah, there is some student council stuff that we got to talk about. But first, I want to talk about the class play. So initially, I was a little confused about why it was Cinderella. Like, I wasn't sure why. I was like, what connection does Cinderella have to FruBa? I was like, I'm not clear. And also, they're high school students. So when even Uo's just like, aren't we like a little old for Cinderella? Like, it's a children's play. It's like, yeah, but like, maybe you're performing for kids? I don't know, man. Like, I will say, like, when I was in theater, if I was told we were doing Cinderella, I'd kind of roll my eyes. Because it's like, Cinderella, like, it's, I don't know. It just comes off like a kid's play. So I'm like, okay. I mean, they are teenagers, so I guess, like, maybe they're performing for younger kid. I don't know, man. Like, I was kind of with Uo, where I'm like, Cinderella. And then I couldn't help but notice that Yuki would not be taking any big roles as since he's part of the student council president. He ends up taking a pretty big role, if I remember the story correctly. And again, this is where I have to admit something kind of embarrassing. I had to look up what happens in Cinderella. It's been so long since I last saw Disney's Cinderella, which is my frame of reference, that I was literally like, ah yes, Cinderella. What happens in Cinderella? Like, it's literally the only thing I remembered was, okay, fairy godmother, mice that sing Cinderella, Cinderella, and I think there was like a prince. And I was like, there's Prince Charming in this one? No, Prince Charming he's in Sleeping Beauty, is he not? No, that's Eric. Which prince is in Cinderella? Is it Prince Charming? I don't know, right? I was literally just like, I don't even remember what happened. Something about a slipper. I don't, like, something about, like, I feel like Rudy from Misfits, where I'm like, sorry, mate, sorry, go on. So you were saying something about a chicken. There was no chicken. There's no chicken? Why was I daydreaming about a chicken? Like, that's literally, I was just like, were there mice? There wasn't mice. Was there mice? Why was I daydreaming about mice? Like, at one point, I was literally like, there's mice in Cinderella, right? Like, I guess, is that supposed to be a connection to Yuki? I don't know. Like, I was literally sitting there so I'm sitting there thinking, like, what the freak happens in Cinderella? Like, I couldn't remember. So at the end of the episode, like, I just typed in my notes, because I use Google Docs for notes. I know I should have a notepad, I'm sorry. But I was like, okay, connections to Cinderella, and then question mark, because I was like, well, I'll fill it in after the episode's done. And once I looked it up, I'm like, oh, yeah, of course, Stroke of Midnight, like, glass slipper, I got it. Like suddenly it all clicked, right? But yeah, I'm embarrassed to admit that I forgot about a Disney classic completely. And I know it's not originally a Disney thing. I know it's like a folktale, but shut up! That's my frame of reference. Like, leave me alone. Everybody's frame of reference is Disney. I know there's gonna be some people who are like, actually, I read the folktale. I had it read to me as a child. Well, good for you. But the rest of us watched the Disney movie, so that's a frame of reference, okay? So my frame of reference was the friggin' Disney movie, even though I totally forgot about it. So I had to look up what the high hell happened, and honestly, I kind of want to watch it again. Maybe we should do like a Disney marathon. That might be fun. Maybe we could do that on Twitch or something. But regardless, yeah, that was the thing. I forgot about Cinderella completely, so I had to look up what the hell happened. And so basically, and I'm gonna really condense this down. Down on her luck girl, forced into bad family situation specifically, gets by on her kindness and lands a prince. Is Toru Cinderella or is she the prince? Because honestly, and maybe I'm missing the point, Toru could kind of be both in the situation, right? Like, and we'll find out what role she gets, but when I looked up, I was like, oh yeah. Well, I guess by connection, in its connection to FruBa, Toru could honestly kind of be either Prince Charming or she could be Cinderella herself. And to really like hammer that home, like just think about it, right? If Toru is Cinderella, her kind heart is ultimately ultimately rewards her with friends and love, right? Toru is the kindest person in the whole show. She has her reasons for being so, but she is very much like far and away the kindest, sweetest person in the show. Possibly one of the kindest and sweetest people in anime in general, but yeah, her kindness is rewarded with good friends and love and the somas in general, you know, like she is rewarded for her kindness, and her kindness gets her through even the roughest patches, right? So you can see her as Cinderella, and I mean, she like is clearly gonna land a prince, but you know, we'll save that for a second. But I can also see Toru as Prince Charming, rescuing Cinderella from a bad family situation. Who does that remind you of? All of them? Yes, correct. All of them. Toru is Prince Charming, and the Somas are Cinderella in general. At least that's how I'm seeing it. And I'm actually leaning more towards Toru as Prince Charming, because I honestly think it makes way more sense. The idea that Toru, this benevolent figure, descends from on high and saves Cinderella from a bad family situation and shows them the love and kindness that they deserve. Yeah, I honestly kind of see Toru as Prince Charming. I'd love to hear your thoughts, by the way. And did any of you guys actually remember Cinderella? Like, am I just a big dumb idiot? I mean, I am, but like, you know, it'd be nice if somebody forgot about it, just so I don't feel as dumb. But we can't really leave this scene without talking about the roles being announced. And, who cast these people? Who was this? I know that, like, they all voted, but, like, wow. Just, wow. So Fairy Godmother. Yuki. Even though he said he didn't want a big role, I'm pretty sure the Fairy Godmother's, like, a main character. That's big. Also, Yuki as the Fairy Godmother is hilarious to me. I can't wait to see what his outfit's gonna look like. I'm already hyped to see Yuki with a wand and some wings. It's gonna be great. Can we get Yuki to show up in the next Kingdom Hearts game as the Fairy Godmother? I mean, like, can't you see Yuki Soma in Kingdom Hearts as a Fairy Godmother? Don't pretend like you can't see it. Don't pretend like Nomura wouldn't do it either. Like, let's be real here. If he could work in Fruits Basket characters, if he could work in any character, he'd do it. So I kind of want to see it. Somebody mod that. Somebody mod Yuki Soma into Kingdom Hearts as the Fairy Godmother. Do it. Fairy Godmother's not in that many scenes. Do it. I want to see it done. Then you get the evil stepsister, Toru. Nani? I can't think of a worse person to be the evil stepsister. But of course, the Yuki fan club, not really, not really aware of the fact that is the worst possible pick for evil stepsister they could have gotten. And, Yeah, they seem to be having a good laugh about it. And honestly, and I'm gonna say this outright, I think Minami is taking the former head of the Yuki fan club's place as queen evil bitch. Like, think about it. I know she's a year ahead of them. Don't get me wrong. I know that, right? I especially know that because every time I get that wrong, the comments are like, JoJo, goddammit, we've been through this like 1,000 times. She's older than them. I'm like, oh yeah, like every time. I get it this time. I remembered this time. I know she's a year older than them. So why would she be in the same class as them, right? Like, but my thing is, after the first episode of the season, like, do you remember, first of all, that first episode was so good. But I mean, every episode of this show is so good, but you know what I mean? After that first episode, like, think about it, right? Like, she's different. Like, she's still the same, you know, she's obsessed with Yuki. She can be a bit snotty to girls in Yuki's life, but she's different now. She's not as cold as she once was. So somebody has to fill the role of being queen bitch in the Yuki fan club. And Minami seems to be it, which, like, I'm not against that. It gives her character, because Minami didn't really have a character. Like, honestly, a lot of the Yuki fan club don't really have character. I like them, because they're fun comedic foils, right? Like, you gotta have your Team Rocket, you know what I mean? Every show needs a Team Rocket, and the Yuki fan club is so clearly Team Rocket. Like, just like the fun comedic bad guys who you are like, God, you're so dumb, and like you're like the cardboard cutout type of evil, you know what I mean? Where it's like, you're bad, but because you're bad, but you're so hopelessly bad at being bad that you actually end up going full circle and becoming kind of like funny. And that's how I feel about the Yuki fan club, where it's even when they're being mean to Toru, when they're like cackling that she became the evil stepsister, I just couldn't help it. I just like, God, you guys suck. Like, you're so bad. And her getting the evil stepmother role, like, that was hella funny. I really, really dug that. Then you get the weirdness, right? So Cinderella, I assumed that Cinderella, like, I didn't think Cinderella was gonna be Toru. Like, I really thought it was gonna be Uo. Because what I thought was gonna happen was that Uo was gonna end up as Cinderella, and Kyo was gonna end up as the prince. And not because it's like a shippy thing, because like, and actually, you know what? I don't think I've ever talked about this. Uo and Kyo are bro TP to the max, like 100% a bro TP. Like, these two really, like, I know that people are gonna be like, they don't get along, they argue all the time. Everybody has that friendship where half the time they're bickering, but if anybody said a bad word to that person, they're like, hey, we got a problem? Like, you know, if somebody said a bad word to one of them, they'd be like, there a problem here? Like, Yankees stick together, damn it. And like, that's how it comes across. Like, they're two like tough Yankee types. And so of course they get along pretty well, even though they argue all the time because they gotta prove who's tougher, right? And like, all the little moments between Uo and Kyo. Like, do you remember like when they were in Nara? Was it Nara? I think it's Nara. I could be wrong. Where did they go? They went to Kyoto. Did they go to Kyoto? Where were they? The school trip. You remember what I'm talking about? Where like they're feeding the animals, and then Uo's just like, oi, hey, come here. And Kyo's like, I'll kill you. Like, I'll just straight up kill you. Like, Kyo's like, you better stop that. I'll kill you. Like, little moments like that. Like, they have great moments. And even when the girl on the school trip is like, you two are interested in each other, aren't you? And they both laugh because that concept is so ridiculous. They're such bros that I expected that the two of them would end up as Cinderella and Prince Charming, because it's just more fun, right? Like, it'd be funny if the two of them were supposed to be this pairing, even though they're so clearly like bros. I thought it was gonna work out that way, but surprisingly enough, Hana is Cinderella. Hanajima. Cinderella. That is interesting. I didn't see that coming at all. Honestly, they should have done Sleeping Beauty, because Hanajima would have made a friggin' awesome Maleficent. Like, really think about it. Like, Hana would have made a killer Maleficent. They can still do that. There's time. They could change the play. But yeah, Hana as Cinderella, that's interesting. And even the Yuki fan club's like, oh, did not see that coming. That was not part of the plan. That's a little, yeah, weird. But the funniest moment is easily Kyo getting mad. Like, I was drinking tea when I saw that scene where Kyo's like, wait, what? Like, where he's like snaps, like, wait, what? No! And then Yuki's like, it's too late! Like, that moment is stupid funny. I don't know why I almost spit out my coffee. Just like, wait, no! Like, it's too late! Like, the way that they just snap at each other is perfect. That's another bro TP in the making. Like, and I know people are like, bro TP, but they, again, a situation of like, they hate each other. But, you know, Yuki's like, yo, get your shit together. She loves you, damn it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she's pushing everybody together. These relationships and dynamics that wouldn't be friends otherwise are not only becoming friends, they're becoming bros. Super bros. And you love to see it. I mean, mind you, Yuki and Kyo will never, ever admit that. But they are closer than they were before they met Toru. So I love their little, like, snappy, like, they still don't like each other, right? Like, they're still like, wait a minute, no, too late! Like, it's too good. Also, just gonna quickly mention this because it's gonna come more into play in a bit, but Toru doesn't tell Yuki not to push himself too hard. Instead, like, she starts to say it, and instead she just gives him, like, the absolutely perfect, for most situations, ganbatte? And I was like, oh, shit, okay. And then he smiles as she walks over to Kyo, and Yuki just says, like, thinks to himself, like, will you keep letting yourself be cared for, or... And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And with that, we're going to start talking about the student council. And as we talk about student council, just keep that little, like, will you keep letting yourself be cared for line stick in your head, right? Because that, first of all, that line hit hard when we first heard it. For some reason, it hits even harder the second time. And I feel like I'm starting to see the threads of FruBa, right? Like, I feel like I'm starting to see, like, the overall the narrative play out. Like, I feel like I'm starting to get it, you know, like, a lot more than I used to. Like, because before I just thought that FruBa was trying to rip my heart out. But Takeya Sensei, they got something to say. Like, genuinely, the narrative hits, and it hits hardest, I think. This week's episode, I think the hardest the narrative hits is with the student council stuff. And in particular, the stuff with Machi Mouse. Our girl is not okay. She's not good right now. Like, Machi is losing her damn mind, and she completely destroys the club. Now, last time, do you remember when we first met them? And I was like, these two are shady. Right? Because I was like this man and her, like, feel like it seems like they're digging through files. First of all, Machi Mouse, I got to apologize to you. I am sorry. I assumed that her and Kakeru were, like, digging through files to find something. No. Machi seems to be dealing with a lot of stress, and it's manifesting in a destructive habit where she, like, breaks things. Like, she just, like, makes a mess and, like, snaps and has to destroy something. And she, like, destroys the club room again. And we established, like, because we've seen her do this once before, but later we hear Short Stuff, and I have to change his name from Short Stack to Short Stuff because I realized with the whole Uzaki-chan shenanigans that I was like, oh, Short Stack means something totally different. So Short Stuff it is. So Short Stuff comments, like, she's done this before. So it's like, maybe she's been doing this more often than we realize, like, more than just twice. At least that's sort of, like, the implication. And she's not good, man. She's not, and when I say she's not good, I don't mean that she's not a good person. She very clearly is. It's just she's not mentally well. And I think Yuki can sort of relate, you know? Like, Yuki knows what that's like, especially towards the end of the episode. But, and listen, I'm just, like, these videos are just my opinion. I'm just sharing my opinion with you guys. This is, like, a high tier ship, isn't it? Like, do you feel it? I feel it. Like, I really feel it. Like, every time Yuki and Machi have a scene together, I'm like, this works. This really, really works. Like, she needs somebody to help her, like, open up. Who does that sound like? That sounds like episode 1 Yuki. You know what I mean? That sounds like Yuki way at the beginning. This person who's very quiet, very reserved, who needed to come out of his shell and needed somebody to help him ease him out of that shell. And now he's gonna turn around and do the same for Machi Mouse. It works so well, but yet at the same time, you know it's not going to be one-sided because of the scene towards the end of the episode where he gets locked in the room. But before we can talk about that, we got to finish talking about Machi Mouse. Like, the idea that he's going to help, like, him and Kakeru, like, both of them, him and Thief, because, again, that boy be stealing all my mannerisms. But the idea that him and Kakeru are going to try to get Machi to snap out of this, to come out of her shell a bit more, to be a little bit more light, you know? Like, to be a little bit more lighthearted. And we established something kind of impressive that I did not know was going to happen. Like, genuinely, there's still moments where FruBa surprises the absolute shit out of me. And this I did not see coming. This was surprising. Machi and Kakeru are siblings. I didn't see that at all. Like, that was such a shock. I was like, wait. And what's even more crazy to me is the idea that they were siblings, but like Kakeru's dad and his mom, like his mom and Machi's mom are different people. Like, only their dad is the same, but the dad is like really wealthy. So there became this question of inheritance and family legacy, and that separated Machi and Kakeru. So they don't really have a tight relationship, although he clearly wants to have a relationship with Machi, but Machi's not free from this because Kakeru basically realized that everybody was being jackasses to him and Machi, so he just like snapped and screamed at them. And his mom, and good for this kid, and good for my boy's mom, this dude's mom basically just says like, okay, I didn't know you felt that way. I'm taking you out of the situation. Like, I will take you out of the situation. And it's like, God, I wish some of the Soma parents were like Kakeru's mom, because she realized what she did was wrong, and Kakeru even says, like, she knew what she did was wrong. She took me out of the situation, and there's still some hurt feelings about it. Don't get me wrong, there's still some hurt feelings, but it is what it is. It is what it is, right? And the thing is, Machi didn't get the same freedom. Like, Kakeru got out of that situation. Machi didn't. And so Machi's dealing with the pressure of being the inheritor of her father's legacy. And that's clearly something that Yuki is familiar with. The idea of being tied down by your family. Again, kind of similar to this whole Cinderella thing. So you can tell that he kind of understands, he sympathizes, and he wants to help her. And the whole dynamic between him and Machi is interesting for multiple reasons. But like, again, and to get back to the whole scene with Yuki in the like getting stuck in the back room there, the idea that she is going to like, it's not just gonna be one-sided. The idea that Machi will also be able to help Yuki face his demons, you know? Like, don't forget, like, when he gets locked in there, Kimi and Short Stuff, Foru and Short Stuff, they don't break him out, right? They're like, okay, we're gonna go get help. Whereas when Machi and Kakeru show up, Machi doesn't hesitate. She just cracks the door open with one of the chairs and like scratches the shit out of the door in the process. But she's not afraid to break the door down in order to get him out of there, you know? Because she like, you can start to see a kinship forming between them, and a ship forming between them. And the idea that she is able to break into Yuki's, if you want to look at it metaphorically, the idea that she's able to break into Yuki's darkness and shine some light in there and pull him out of the dark and back into the light is metaphorical for how he's been trying to reach out to her. She's going to be able to do the same for him. That these two people can help each other become better. Now, Toru's already been able to help Yuki like really break out of his shell, and I don't think these two would be as close if Toru hadn't helped Yuki as much as she has already. But the idea that Machi isn't gonna let Yuki's kindness go unreciprocated, like the idea that she's like, you've been good to me, so I'm gonna be good to you. I think that's really cute. Like, I really, really like these two a lot. I like that they have a lot of similarities, that they're two people who have sort of been hurt by their families. Not that, you know, the Somas are blood related or anything, but you know what I mean. the idea that they've both been hurt before by, we'll say, parental figures, right? And that they're gonna ease each other out of that situation. It's really friggin' sweet. Honestly, all the stuff with Yuki and the student council was great. Him and Kakeru are also great. Like, that's another bro TP to the utmost. Like, he tells Kakeru things that he couldn't even tell Toru. Like, by the end of the episode, he's like, I gotta tell you something I haven't even told her. And it's like, what? Like, and the biggest thing for me is Kakeru, like, pointing out that, like, that whole, like, the badly buttoned shirt thing. The idea that their family life is like a poorly buttoned shirt. And Kakeru points out that, like, sometimes you just gotta rock a badly buttoned shirt, man. Sometimes you just gotta laugh it off. And Yuki looks back on the things that have happened. Like, he takes a quick look at his life, and especially when his mom actually decides to be a parent, which was huge. I was like, I'm sorry, did she just, like, because she's like, you know, Yuki, you maybe shouldn't stay on the phone, like, all day. Like, and she says it, like, not to be mean, she says it like she's worried about him, you know, like, she's like, hey, like, you know, like, make sure you're not on your phone all day. Like, just, it's, like, small, right? Like, it's just this small little parent-like moment for her, and I was shocked. And it's, like, that paired with, like, just him, like, looking back on the student council and stuff with Toru and everything, like, when you pair all those scenes together, like, his mom being nice to him, like his dynamic with his boy Kakeru, with the whole thing with Machi Mouse, like her breaking him out of that friggin' back room, that locked door, which in the future would end up being quite funny. Like, when you think about it, with the power of hindsight and all that, the idea that maybe you can look back on this and just laugh, and that's usually what it's like, right? In the moment, it's dramatic and intense. But as you get older and you look back on situations, you just tend to laugh, right? You're like, I can't believe we were like that. And I have a feeling that that's probably what's going to happen. Like, maybe down the line, all of them get together and they laugh about the time Yuki got locked in the back room. Like, the old student council gets together and laughs about all the shenanigans they used to get in the student council. And don't get me wrong, it's dramatic. Like, Yuki straight up had war flashbacks there for a second. But the idea that Machi's able to pull him out of it, you know, like, the idea that, like, maybe one day they'll grow old and laugh about all of this. And it's very human, and it's very Fruits Basket, and it's very, very good. But with that said, everybody, I'm going to wrap up my thoughts here. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, then don't forget to boop that up snoot and share if you care. And of course, as always, I have to give a big, big thank you to the good folks in the T Squadron. Look at these beautiful people. Look at these beautiful names. And hey, if you would like to join these beautiful people, then be sure to check out that first link in the description and check out our Patreon page. For less than a cup of coffee a month, just a single $1, you can help keep this channel afloat, and I would be sincerely appreciative of that. So once again, a big thank you to the T Squadron. I am going to go get ready for a stream, which reminds me, I should mention this more. I have a Twitch page. You guys should join me. It's twitch.tv/JoJo Talks Too Much, all one word. Yeah, you should come by. Like, we just kind of shoot the breeze. We play some fighting games. We play some Friends of Mineral Town, stuff like that. We just kind of hang, and a lot of the times we're just hanging out and talking. So if that sounds like your thing, come check me out on Twitch, I guess. But yeah, until next time, you stay classy, AnyTube, and wash your dang hands.